didn't know about vaccine injuries. I have taken care of a little girl that kind of is our little adopted granddaughter, sort of, and I had taken care of her, and she got her 1-year shots, and then I took care of her the next day, and she was sick. She wasn't sick before the shot. She got sick. That night, she had seizures, massive seizures, ended up in the NICU for 5 days. There's no explanation for what happened other than
105
vaccines at the start, but then they said that the seizure was not connected to the fever.
We should send a DVD of Vax
Yes.
to them.
Yes. And so what happened is, after that happened, and I'm a paralegal, so I get notice of lawsuits and things through my email subscription, and I had gotten the information about the CDC whistleblower, and I thought it was a huge deal. But then I'm like, Dale, nothing happened. It was crazy. It was really crazy. I had also seen the information come through about the other lawsuit on the MMR. And so I saw these things come together with the seizures, and I started researching every single day. And I got medical records, and sure enough, all of our son's issues started right after that shot, that second MMR, when he was 5. But nobody ever connected it to it.
And we had no idea until a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
That's
that
what
was
they
It's all
want.
making
recent.
sense now.
That's really recent. Wow.
That's what they want you to do, though, isn't it? They want you to just not connect
Do
it.
your
They're just-
research.
they're just like,
Definitely.
no, it's not this. It must be.
Oh, it must be something. It just,
Anything
what the
but.
pediatrician said, I said, well, how can he have food allergies all of a sudden? Well, it just happens with kids. We don't know why. It just
Yeah.
happens. Well, I have the ability, I do this as my job. I do medical paralegal work, and I know connections to things. I went through those records, and sure enough, it's all right after. He had lost his gross motor skills and like couldn't ride a bike, and we had to work on balance so that he could ride a bike. And just things like that that just never had a problem with before that vaccine. At 2 years old, he had a vocabulary of over 200 words. At 4 years old, he was doing science experiments. As a matter of fact, he broke the sliding glass door because he said he miscalculated the trajectory
Of the rock you threw.
the object that
What age is that?
he sent. That was at 4.
Wow.
Normal, a little on the genius side, a little, he was very, very smart. And then he started elementary school, and things started happening, and his behavior was just crazy. He'd bang his head on the wall, and he would, in the movie we watched, Billy get so angry, and so angry, and then reach over and twist John's arm.
Yeah.
That was a flashback for us. It's like that was when we've seen that behavior. And we complain
Absolutely.
about his brain being mushy, and all of his emotions just became extreme.
Very extreme. He would look at us, and we couldn't get him to look at us in the eye, and he would cry, and he'd say, I just want to die. He's a 5-year-old saying he wanted to die. And so I started looking. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have really anything. I went to the bookstore, I went to the library, I went to the medical library here. I searched everything I could and came upon food allergies. So I looked at food allergies. I went to his pediatrician. No, allergies don't affect behavior. So I went to a different doctor. We traveled to Los Alamos, where there was an alternative doctor who had actually written a book about a food elimination diet. And we got information from her. We did a food elimination diet, and we ended up taking dairy and gluten out of his diet, the very typical foods that you take out. And we did a lot of green drinks to cleanse the system, and we, by the grace of God, healed our son for the most part. He struggled. It was really hard. He remembers it. He remembers being able to read and then not being able to read. He remembers. I asked him this morning to remind me what he remembered from it, and he said, I remember my brain being mushy and slushy, and I couldn't think, and I remember banging my head to make it feel better. And so now he does have a speech issue if he has too much wheat, and he has graduated college, and he's married, and he's got a baby on the way, and it
Wow.
looks like they're not going to vaccinate.
Well, that's early.